Welcome back, listeners. It's Wednesday in South Carolina. Welcome to the Touchdowns podcast. We're joined by the legend. If you've been on Twitter anytime in the last 10, 15 years, this guy shakes it up on the college football and SEC landscape. Bunkie Perkins. We're talking Ole Miss, South Carolina. Thanks for joining us, Bunkie. Really appreciate it. You taking the time. Just for the real quickly for the listeners, just give a quick background on you, your fandom, and just your love of college football.
I guess if you've been on Twitter for like 10 or 15 years, you really need to reevaluate your life decisions. I try to do that on a pretty consistent basis. I grew up in the South, love college football. I am unabashedly an Ole Miss. I don't know if I'm a homer. I'm an alum. I grew up in Louisiana, so I'm a product of two LSU parents, and so I guess when you have two LSU factors, the product is a degenerate Ole Miss fan. So here it is. That's right.
Rebelling.
Did the parents want to excommunicate you when you decided to go to Ole Miss?
So they weren't real thrilled about it. But then my younger brother also went to Ole Miss, so it was the parenting that was the problem. It wasn't me or my brother. So they've come around to it. They've accepted their lot in life. But God saw to it to pay me back. I married an Arkansas alum, so I get plenty from both ends. But it's nice. It's nice that Ole Miss is winning and Arkansas is just god awful and has been for a decade. It makes for an easy marriage.
Yeah, that's actually. I'm going to jump in. Was going to maybe ask you this later on, but since you bring up Arkansas and Ole Miss, what's the chances? Houston Nutt, the Arkansas job is open. Ole Miss might come open. Who's more likely to land Houston Nutt? Bring it back.
After listening to Jeff Landry, who is the governor of Louisiana, say he's going to make the decision and not the AD at LSU, Houston Nutt might have a shot. Who can say? You get Houston Nutt in a room, he's going to close the deal. And those politicians, they think they're savvy. Just wait till Houston Dale rolls in there and whips out the best times of your lives speech. And he'll have a 10-year contract before you know it. So don't count him out, folks. There's enough jobs open now that I was thinking about this. So, there's so many jobs open, right? Think about who, are actually good, P5 candidates, a group of 5 candidates, or, coordinators, okay, whatever. But, there's not a lot, man.
We've kind of been discussing that already, just that there aren't enough good coaches to go around. I don't think you want to be in the cycle. You're going to see teams
South Carolina might be one, Oklahoma, who else? Colorado's garbage this year. Teams that are kind of borderline that maybe in a normal cycle, Auburn's going to fire you. I think we all know that. But I think in a normal cycle, some of these coaches might get fired, but given the number of openings and the prominence of those openings, you got your Penn State, you got your LSU, you got your Florida. Those are 3 big jobs. There's only so many good coaches to go around, and there's not enough John Summeralls to fill them all.
Right.
So.
Are you worried about Lane?
I wasn't worried about Florida. I'm still not worried about Florida. I was worried about LSU until I saw the governor. I am not worried about that anymore. Buddy, if you want to take that on, and the other thing too is LSU specifically and Florida specifically are jobs where you got to really invest in high school recruiting, because in both of those states, if you recruit very well, you are going to win a national championship if you're somewhat competent. LSU, about every 5 years, they're recruiting, the in-state recruiting is just bananas, and they're going to win. Ole Miss, he doesn't have to do that because, number one, Mississippi's a small state. You're only going to have 2 or 3 legitimate 5-star or even, borderline 5-star recruits. and he can fill it through the portal where he doesn't have to go out and do a ton of high school recruiting. I mean, I think that's a legitimate concern. Money-wise, I mean, we all know we're going to spend the amount of return that Lane has delivered to Ole Miss and Oxford and just, I mean, honestly, the whole state. They're going to, whatever the number is, like, it does not matter. They will meet dollar for dollar. So it's really just a what does he want to do type of thing. So am I concerned? Yeah, I'm concerned every year. You know, it's been that way for the last 3 or 4 years. But, I mean, I was real concerned about LSU until I saw what's going on over there today. I'm like, I'm not too worried
about it. Well, that kind of answered my question because we actually agreed that we didn't think he was going to Florida, but LSU was a job that we think is a different level. And we also agree that we don't think it's ever going to be about the money with him. Y'all are going to pay him whatever he wants. It's more so, does he view a job coming open as a step up or an easier path to a national championship? And there, to be honest, with what y'all have given him, I really think that there's only a handful of places that would be that for him. LSU is one of them, but like if Texas came open, the other ones, I just don't see those coaches leaving. Those being Kirby at Georgia, he's not going to leave. Ryan Day at Ohio State. I don't know how many jobs are out there that are definitively a big leap up from Ole Miss.
Plus, it has to kind of be a cultural fit. And like Lane, listen, Lane's an offensive genius, but that dude is also on the spectrum. Like, he is kind of a weirdo. And he's not going to press the flesh like you want him to at, say, Texas, right? And he's not going to ingratiate himself to the community maybe the way Ed Orgeron did at LSU or something like that. He's a different bird, man, and good and bad. So, like, looking at Lane, just his family situation. Okay, so his son is the starting quarterback at Oxford High School right now as a sophomore. His daughter is a junior, I think, at Ole Miss. His brother is on staff. His entire family's there. He moved and built a house for his ex-wife. Layla lives in Oxford, and both of his parents died in Oxford. His dad and his mom in the last 2 years both passed away in Oxford. Like, that's a lot of family to uproot for a job. And like that, and you've notoriously been kind of a next job chaser in your entire career. And so he still could do it, but like if it was me, if that was like my wife would disown me. Like, she's like, we moved hell and moved heaven and earth to get us here, and now you're just like, I'm gonna take the first thing smoking out of town. I don't know, man. He could still do it. He really could, because he's kind of a weirdo. But we're in as good a position as anyone, I think, if we're going to hold on to him.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people were drawing him to Florida because Steve Spurrier is his idol, and who's to say he isn't going to be the Steve Spurrier of Ole Miss? Because if you look at Ole Miss, who Ole Miss reveres is Archie Manning and Eli Manning, and the Manning name is all over that campus, 18 miles per hour speed limit, and it's Manning who was a player, not necessarily. There's not a legendary coach in the Ole Miss program.
And maybe that's Johnny Vaught, obviously, the stadium's named after him. He, quote unquote, won some national championships, but. Right.
But all those SEC West teams just claim fake national championships.
Yeah, he is the greatest modern day Ole Miss football coach ever. The success we've had in the last 3 or 4 years has never been duplicated. I mean, I was a student there for 7 years. I have multiple degrees. Let's not get into it.
My man. Yeah. Hey, 5 years and I have 1 degree. Yeah. Thomas is 6 years. He has 1 degree.
But I was there during the Deuce McAllister, Eli Manning years, and Eli won 10 games once. That was the greatest football season we ever had. And the fact that he's gone back to back to back with double-digit win seasons, it's unbelievable. And the fact that we're on the precipice of uncharted waters for us. I mean, we could still, set ourselves on fire here these last couple of weeks, but we're in a great position, a position that we're not used to. So he has built so much equity in Oxford. Like he could be here for 10 years and go 5-5, and we would not care, or 6-6, whatever it is, because he's built up
Right.
so much equity. Whereas you go 9-3 at LSU 2 years in a row, and I mean you might get a nice payout, but you're looking
They're
for a
gonna
nice
hate
job.
you. Yeah.
Speaking of setting yourselves on fire, do you have any apprehension about the Gamecocks coming to town? Is there anything about our team that
Sure.
worries you coming into this match?
I mean, I was hopeful 2 weeks ago that you guys were dead and buried, and then things have kind of turned around a little bit, and maybe some hope. And obviously, Sellers is a great player, and by himself can affect the game. Yeah, it's if we can get past you guys and get past Mississippi State. My biggest fear is going in to State with 2 losses, going into Starkville. Like that's. Oh my
Dropping
God,
the egg bowl.
that's right there, and it's like everybody knows it, and everybody has mentioned it. Like
Right.
it's not one of these things. It's like that thing that shall not be mentioned. Like we all know, hey, dude, like we've got it really not easy because it's the SEC, but like other than South Carolina and State, we play the Citadel. Like let's bring this baby home. It's we got past. The toughest part was we thought LSU, which turned out not to be, but then Georgia and Oklahoma are on the road both. If we could just split those, we did. We almost won both of them. Like, please don't screw it up. I think we're going to do everything we can. I think the South Carolina game, it's a night. Stadium's going to be packed. Now, obviously, Vaught Hemingway, not Tiger Stadium, not even, Williams-Brice. Like, it's not. But they're going to pack it out. It's going to be loud. It's going to be a tough place to play. I think our players will be ready to play. I am hopeful that we do the thing we should do, but I've seen a lot of Ole Miss games, so.
We know a lot about letdowns too.
Yeah.
AKA last week was one of them, but yeah,
Yeah,
plenty more where that came from. But
my hope is you guys have lost all of it. Is that after the last 2 weeks, especially, like 3/4 through that Alabama game, I was like, oh no, they're going to be excited, they're going to win, they're going to be coming out on a high, and my hope is that you guys are just so demoralized that it's a no contest, but I know better. Like it's going to be a tough game. It's an SEC game. You have a legitimate quarterback who is very good. Our defense, I don't know what our defense is. They looked awful against Georgia. Maybe Georgia's really good on offense. I don't know. We looked great against Oklahoma. We got a lot of pressure on Mateer. They played really well and actually won the game for us. If you want to go back and reevaluate. So I don't know what our defense is. Maybe I think they're average. I guess that evens out. It's average. Chambliss has been a revelation. I can't believe he's doing what he's doing. I think our hope when Austin Simmons got hurt was that he could get us through the LSU game, and then we just kind of see where we were. And, I mean, that dude's going for 300 and 100 every week, damn near. And so he just doesn't make mistakes. He's older. I mean, he's like 22, 23. He's won a national championship, granted, Division II. But all of his interceptions, for the most part, have been tips or not really his fault. He just doesn't make a lot of bad decisions. Doesn't have the arm that Austin Simmons does. But he adds a dimension to that offense with Lacey in the backfield. And our wide receivers are really good. We're super deep at wide receiver, have very good tight ends. Man, it's really been crazy to watch.
yeah, I think the thing about Georgia's offense, I saw they're number one in efficiency. So I think their offense is better than you would think. So it's not, I guess, too big of a thing on Ole Miss's defense. But you're playing the perfect offense if you need a get right game for your defense. So you're playing one of the worst offenses, despite all of Lenoris's abilities. We are one of the worst offenses in the country. So
it's definitely strength on strength and weakness on weakness. I don't know if y'all's offense is better than our defense, but our defense is definitely the better half of our team. And like Beck said, if you don't know what your defense is, I can assure you that if we know what our offense is, it's a below average.
I think
I'm hoping that we show something against y'all that we haven't seen yet.
Your offense will. You'll be able to run the ball a little bit. We don't have the size on the line we did last year. Last year we had a bunch of NFL players. Now we got maybe two on the defensive line. I think our secondary is fairly unproven. We have given up some big plays. We gave up 2 big plays to Oklahoma, and so I think there's the ability there to score points. I was shocked that we scored 31 points on Oklahoma last week because everybody was like, "Oh, Oklahoma's defense is the best in the country." Venables, obviously a very good defensive coordinator. Kirby Smart, obviously a very good defensive coordinator. But we scored at will on both of those teams, and I don't know what really to make of that because Oklahoma hadn't played anybody until us. But Lane has been in his bag this season on a level that I've never seen. There have been games where I'm like, holy cow. You remember the last time South Carolina came to Ole Miss where the infamous throw the clipboard in the air, touchdown. He was in his bag that day. He was really calling some great plays. He's doing that every week now, man. It's crazy to watch him. I think Chambliss gives him optionality that Dart had a lot of it. Dart's a much better passer and had a little bit of the run ability that Chambliss does. But, man, it's been something to watch.
Yeah. You've seen him against Georgia, who many would probably consider a top 3 SEC team, Oklahoma. How do you feel about Ole Miss's chances hypothetically getting into the playoff, looking at the Indianas and the Ohio States,
I think
the Oregons out there that y'all could potentially have been matched up with first round of the playoff?
I think we're maybe third and fourth. I think A&M's better. I think Georgia's better. They beat us, obviously. I think that Alabama is hitting their stride, but hey, everybody thought that was going to be a blowout last week, and it was a nail biter. So, on the national level, we just want to get in, man. Whatever happens, happens. We should have been in last year. We screwed that up. You can't lose to Kentucky at home. We had LSU on the ropes and couldn't finish it. This year, we've been able to finish teams that we weren't able to finish last year. And a lot of that is Lane, too. Lane used to, if you go over the years, he would go for it a ton. And that was always the MO. He does not do that anymore. He does it a little bit, but he's going to kick the field goal. He's realized that, I lost games over the last couple of years because I just wouldn't take the points. And so he's realized that. He's grown and matured as much as he's going to grow and mature. So it's our best opportunity, which is crazy. I really thought the ceiling for this team was 8-4. But obviously things change. So, yeah, we just want to get in. I think we might win a game. I'm not sure. Ohio State's so much better than everybody else. But if we get Georgia Tech in the first round in Oxford, hey, I feel pretty good about that. So yeah,
that'd be a fun matchup.
I think if we could get something at home, or even match up against, I don't know, Indiana's kind of a wagon right now too. But a 6. I don't know what that would be, a 6-10 matchup, or I don't even know what the bracket would like.
Yeah, that's the thing. If y'all could sneak in at 10-2 and not have to play in the SEC championship, get an extra week's rest, and host a playoff game, that you're probably getting Miami or a group of 5 team, or
but I think
Georgia Tech.
I think Ole Miss and Carolina fans are similar in the fact that we're like a beat dog a lot of times, and we feel like nothing good can happen. And so we expect the worst. I don't know that I expect the worst, but I don't expect it to be as easy as we're talking. I have a feeling we're going to get scared either this coming week or Starkville, who the hell knows. They hadn't won a SEC game in 3 years? Watch it be our game. Watch it freaking be our game. Just watch. I was praying to God they won last week just so it would be a normal game.
We gotta beat you on Saturday so that y'all get your little hiccup out of the way. Y'all can beat the shit out of Mississippi State. We'll take care of it.
10-2. Here's a win for you. Listen,
and then y'all can get in 10-2.
I'm not greedy.
We need something this year. I mean, we were talking about our only, speaking of rivalry games, our only hope this year is just beating Clemson.
That'd be a fun game. They're not good. Yeah,
they are not good, and we aren't either, though. So that's the rub. It'll be a fun game.
It would be very Clemson-like and very South Carolina-like for Clemson to have their best game of the year in Columbia.
I'm going to Fayetteville this weekend.
Yes, I do still believe that we are better.
State, and so I'm going to try to lay hands on State before the game and see if we can't go ahead and get that SEC win out of the way.
Who's going to win that game? Who should we bet in that State Arkansas game? That's a wacky game.
They still stink on offense. Well, they don't stink on offense. They stink on defense. They're bad on defense. State is competent on both sides of the football. They just don't know how to win. It's a 3:00 game. I don't know, kind of brisk. I'll go State. That's not because I just don't want to see Bobby.
Okay. They're getting 4.5. I think, right?
Arkansas job. Let's not give no hope on that. Let's not even entertain that situation.
Is he? Do you think he's a legitimate
with two boosters from Arkansas who would know 2 weeks ago? And I said, guys, what are you going to do? We want Bobby and a good defensive coordinator. I was like, y'all are so stupid. Like you've been bad for 10 years. There's a reason. So we'll see. They're going to do something dumb because it's Arkansas.
Yeah. Well, that's what our fans are in a lot of our South Carolina fans are now arguing over Beamer. Thomas and I are two defenders of Beamer, but there's a lot of people in the fan base that want his head, especially after this season. But we're kind of the opinion that
where are your options?
Right.
Where are your options?
Right.
Unless you just
that's where we are.
Unless you just know, that is a tough. Well, that's going to prom without a date, and you're like a 6, right? And there's a bunch of other bachelorettes that are 9s and 10s, and you're just like, well, whatever happens, happens. Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe stay home that year.
We ain't gonna get picked. Yeah, we understand the program that we are, and we're not the first call or the first option for a lot of these coaches, that are going to be on the market. So
right, the name he has had success. I think he's likable. Like he's not Brian Kelly where nobody likes that dude. I just think had a bad season. And is it trending in the direction you'd want currently? No, but with the current state of things can turn around really quickly, and all it takes is like one portal transfer that's a difference maker. Like we got Trinidad Chambliss because we saw his video highlights on Twitter. Like that's legit,
right?
And the guy is probably top 5 Heisman candidate. It's crazy.
Yeah. The portal era really does change things year to year, and my hope is that there is so much motion with the coaching carousel that players are going to flock to stability. And if we have Shane Beamer, who's been with us for the past 5 years, we're going to have an advantage over these new coaches coming in trying to build a roster because there's more known commodities. The big question for us, I think, that's going to kind of set the tone for what next season could or could not be is just kind of what direction we go with the quarterback. I think that Lenoris will go pro, and he should. But, whether we try to pass the keys off to Air Nolan or Cutter Woods, or we have a really, highly touted guy coming in as a freshman next year in Landon Duckworth, I think that we are going to need to go into the portal and get an experienced QB that has a little bit more, games played under his belt than what we currently have on the roster. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. If we get a guy like that, that really kind of changes the dynamic for what we should or could expect for next season.
I'll leave you with this. So just in general, like how that works. So I've gotten to be really good friends with Tulsa's new head football coach, a guy named Trey Lamb. Trey's 36, like he's super young. And he came from East Tennessee State. This is a big job for him, right? He came in and he's really changed the culture, a lot more organization. He's doing the right things, but they stink. Like the talent that he inherited was just not there. And it's crazy to think, but last year, before he got there, you know how much money Tulsa spent in NIL? $0. It was simply scholarship. So, like, you know what kind of players they're getting, right? And now he's got at least a little bit of money. He's got several guys on payroll, and he told me what he's going to spend on a quarterback next year, and because he knows, he's like, what I'm going to do. He's like, you may disagree with this. I actually kind of agree with it. I've identified 12 positions that I need to win, like quarterback, defensive line, wide receivers, running back, left tackle, cornerbacks. Like that's it, right? I'm going to take all my NIL dollars and spend it on those guys because I know if I get those guys, I can win football games. And so, on a heightened level, for somebody like South Carolina, or anybody really, if you can get a difference maker at one of those positions or more of those positions at a reasonable price, which is hard, but it can be done. Like I said, we were supposed to be 8-4 at best this year. Here we are fighting because we got some kid out of the portal for pennies compared to what we're paying the original starting quarterback. So,
yeah, that's wild. It's wild how that works. And I think, that's one thing that we didn't hit on the portal for the 2025 season. If you look back at 2024, Kyle Kennard, SEC Player of the Year on the defensive side. He won the Nagurski Award. Demetrius Knight is an NFL linebacker right now. We hit on some of these guys in the portal, and they made a huge difference. Obviously, Demetrius Knight made the interception against Clemson, won that game for us. Like, Kyle Kennard just made plays throughout the whole year. And this year, we haven't had those difference makers in the portal that Beamer's typically gotten, and so that's what the expectation was.
We've had some hits. Brandon Cisse.
Some, yeah.
I think where we really missed was O-line. We knew that we needed to strengthen our O-line, and because we wouldn't have brought in O-line transfers if we thought that we.
But you're not the only ones. Look at LSU.
The problem.
LSU.
The problem is the guys that we brought in have not been good enough to win. So you have to know what you need, and then hopefully you're able to actually hit
and
when you bring those guys into the program.
Guy from Ferris State that was on Twitter, and so it is what it is. But
it's the new state of college football, man. It's the new state. But that's the thing is, you have the hope that, hey, just finish, like you said, keep the culture, keep the identity. Hopefully you attract some guys to it, and then you can go reload for the next year, and we could flip a 5-7 season and be in the mix next year. So, it's the evolution of college football. Is what it is, but we know you got to run, Bunkie. We really appreciate you hopping on.
Thank you for having me anytime.
This was awesome.
I heard you had Eddie Radosevich like 2 weeks ago, and I couldn't let that stand without coming on.
We did.
Yeah, Eddie was great. Yeah, I don't know why you guys of you and Eddie's stature are agreeing to come on our little podcast, but we're having fun with it, and we enjoy having y'all on it too, man.
I appreciate you guys.
It's great. It's great insight.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Thank you, Bunkie.
That was Bunkie Perkins. That was fun. Yeah, that was some good insight. I mean, golfing with the Arkansas boosters, and I mean, this man's connected.
Plugged in.
That was fun, and
that's crazy that people that matter at Arkansas want Petrino. Like,
I mean, all you have to do is just show the picture of him in the damn neck brace after they want to go back to that, but I mean, their offense is cooking. So, I mean, to Bunkie's point, the Arkansas boosters said if we can get him and a good defensive guy, I mean, maybe Venables gets fired and they pay Venables $2 million to be the defensive coordinator.
The problem the first time he was there. It was him.
Well, I know.
You know,
it was him banging his recruiting secretary or whatever. But anyways, that was good. That was good stuff from Bunkie, and didn't talk too much necessarily about the game. And I think Gamecock fans out there know what we are, and this game, we're a 12.5-point dog, and no one, we played well against Bama, and maybe we can expect to build on that. It was a disappointing finish.
Well, yeah, I mean, so, to that point, if we play like we played against Alabama, we can absolutely be competitive and win the game. I think that as good as Ty Simpson and Alabama's offense has been, I think that, to Bunkie's point, Lane is probably the more dangerous offensive coordinator between him and Grubb. So it's not just that Ole Miss is talented; it's that Lane is really good at scheming stuff up and putting defenses in difficult situations. But the way that we were playing against Alabama, we just had, Nick Barrett, and I was able to get him down here for the touchdown spotlight, so I'm super pleased about that. He was just beating his guy, and he was just, making plays in the backfield. Dylan's always great. Jalen Kilgore had that great, touchdown-saving pass breakup. Our players were just making great individual plays. So if they come out and they're playing like that again, I think that we'll be able to slow them down. The big question mark is, and Bunkie says that we're going to be able to run the ball a little bit. They've given up some explosives, but we've moved the ball. We cannot score in the red zone. Like, we've had 1st and 10 from the 10, and we kick a field goal or we turn it over on downs. Like, I'm as optimistic as they come, and even with the slight improvements that we've shown on offense in the past few weeks, we still have not been effective at all at actually scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, I think, 100%. And to Bunk, they lost a lot of NFL talent off their defense, similar to what we did. I think Clayton White's done a great job. And if you look at, I think I saw some numbers comparisons on Twitter the other day of our defense last year versus this year, and it's pretty damn close. Like, we're giving up maybe 3 more, I think it's like 21 points a game this year versus 18 last year, about the same yardage. Like,
it's a travesty, dude. If you would have told me in August that our defense was giving up 21 points a game, in week 10, I would have said we're undefeated. Like, the fact that we're sitting here at 3-5 with as well as our defense has played is going to be something that we look back on in 10 years for the worst losses of the decade episode.
It is sad because all the expectations, and we've talked about the expectations, and one of the things that I think people need to understand, and the people that are disappointed in the season and want to get rid of Beamer, is the whole reason we have these expectations is because of what Beamer has done and has built. And so you can't necessarily just, this season sucks and it's not acceptable based on what we expected as fans. But you kind of, it just happens. And the thing about that we kind of talked about with Bunkie is it can turn in one off season. And if you can maintain who you are as a program, you can attract. That's when I lost my train of thought. That's what I wanted to talk about, was what we've been touching on, the coaching carousel and how that's going to impact college football. But one of the things that we haven't really gone in depth on is all the players that are going to go into the portal because of all these coaching changes. I mean, the portal hadn't even opened. Think about, everyone's going to be, getting their pick of UCLA guys and Virginia Tech guys, and you go in and you kind of try and pick the best players from those teams. LSU, Florida, like Penn State, like there's going to be probably, this is going to be the craziest coaching carousel in college football history. There's going to be so many guys in the portal that
it's going to be an absolute feeding frenzy. It's going to be like when you drop a cow into a fucking pool of piranhas. And I know that after the season that we've had, no Gamecock fan wants to hear about money right now. But I actually met with somebody from the Garnet Trust today, trying to set up a possible partnership between Touchdowns and the Garnet Trust, and the way that we do our credit card processing that could potentially, raise some money for NIL just by Touchdowns doing its normal operating business. But, we need to, this is not the time to pull back. This is the time to give Beamer even more resources, because like I said, if we don't fire him, which I don't think we should, and I don't think we will, us having our head coach in place is going to be an advantage when the portal does open up. And I really hope that Clayton White is not one of the assistants that is getting called to fill some of these vacancies. But yes,
he's probably going to get a raise.
Well, he deserves one. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah,
absolutely.
Like us having our head coach in place, is if we can give Beamer some money, I think that we can. And obviously, we have to retain the core of the team as well. One of the main reasons I want to hold on to Clayton and Sterling is because I want to hold on to Dylan. But if the good young players that we currently have on the roster come back, and we get a quarterback, and we just get the best available players we can, because there's going to be plenty of options out there. I don't think we're that far away this year either. Like, we just played. A lot of people think Alabama is going to the final, and like they're going to see Ohio State in the championship, and we just played them down to the wire. So it's like we're not that far away. We are what our record is, which is 3-5, but I think it's a very quick turnaround if we can be more effective.
No, I would agree. I think people need to stay the course, and it's one of those things now that the college game is looking more and more like the NFL. And what's the one thing about the NFL is the parity in the NFL, and you obviously have your poorly run franchises and your better run franchises, but ultimately in the NFL, you can. When you have a team that one season, they, like the Vikings, when that year they won 14 or 15 games, but they won like 8 one-score games. And it's just like they won the close games, whereas there's another team in the NFL that I can't think of right now that probably lost 8 one-score games. And it's like, wait, the Vikings won 14 games and that team won 6 games, and it's like, all you have to do is reverse the one-score games. And so, to your point, I do, outside of Vanderbilt, where we just kind of got massively outplayed in the second half when Lenoris was hurt, we're in the Missouri game with a chance to winning in the second half. We're in the LSU game. We have the ball going at the 37-yard line to tie the game in the fourth quarter. We're beating Bama in the fourth quarter. Like, Oklahoma was a bad game.
I think the Oklahoma game is the only game this season where we never led. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Oklahoma was
We've led in every single one of our losses except for the Oklahoma game.
right. We had, and that's, again, we're not a great team because we're 3-5 and we haven't been able to finish these games. But to your point, we're close, and it can turn. It can turn in an off season, and so just keep the faith out there, Gamecocks. And we'll see my DB Blitz, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful this
Yeah, I mean,
this weekend.
I just want to see us continue to play well, or like if we play like we played against Alabama, we have a shot. Against Ole Miss, against Texas A&M, we'll smoke Coastal and we'll smoke Clemson. The Bama game was our best performance of the season, despite the loss. So, Beamer has been money in the month of November, and it looks like it's possible that is setting up to be true again. And like I've said before, it doesn't really matter to me whether we're bowl eligible or not. If we went out, we'd be 7-5. If we go 3-1 in November, we'd be 6-6. Neither of the bowl games that we would qualify for in either of those scenarios are going to get the blood flowing. But I would love to beat Ole Miss. I would love to beat A&M. I hate it. I think A&M's nerds, losers, ruining either of their seasons or damaging either of their seasons. I would take a lot of satisfaction from. And I just like to win I hate losing. It's not about really the big picture as so much as if we're playing in a game, I want to win that game.
Yeah, I want to have a fun Saturday.
Yeah.
I haven't had a fun Saturday in a month.
Kentucky feels like 10 years ago.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, yeah. It really does. It's been over a calendar month since we've won a game, and yeah, we just need to get a dub. I think we can this weekend. We'll see, but yeah, like Bunkie said, we're now playing with, and I think this is what Beamer. We talked about it last week before Bama. Beamer he's good at motivating his team when we're underdogs, when we're considered down and out. We've won a lot of these games in his tenure. What sucks is, a lot of times it's taken bad performances beforehand in order to kind of wake up and have this revelation of like, oh, we can play better.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's all good and well. Like, I'm glad that we play well as an underdog. I'm glad that we're competitive against better teams, but eventually you have to be able to just come out and play well on a consistent basis. Like, what's the point of building towards something if once you're expected to win, you can't perform as well?
Right.
So yeah, for now we'll be the spoiler, we'll be the scrappy underdog, but it has to evolve past that at some point, where you just come out and win because you're the better team.
Yeah, which has only happened 3 years in our lifetime, and maybe in Gamecock history. 2011, 2012, and 2013. When we had a dude quarterback, Connor Shaw, when we just had dudes all over the field, Clowney and Gilmore and Alshon and Bruce, and we just had. I mean, that's just those teams.
Really good teams. They can throw the counterpunch. Like, for example, we were up 22-14 on Bama in the fourth quarter. They needed a touchdown drive and a 2-point conversion, and they hadn't done anything on offense the entire second half. But when they needed to make plays to win the game, they did it. And that's why it's so hard to beat Alabama, because even when the flow of the game and the momentum has not been going in their favor, they're just able to throw a counterpunch and hit back. And so often, even in the games that we win, it's because everything goes our way that day. And as soon as we're thrown off rhythm, or the other team grabs the momentum, we really struggle to take that back. The 11, 12, 13 teams, we could throw counter punches. Like, we didn't have to, everything didn't have to go perfect for us to win. Like, we were able to win ugly games, and Beamer has had big wins and he's had big upsets, but we still don't have the, in my opinion, whatever it takes to. We've had very few ugly wins under him. I would say the Missouri game last year is one of the few times where we kind of really overcame adversity and still won the game. Like, so many other teams,
Clemson 2022.
So many other teams
That game was crazy.
Would have lost the game when Luther Burden scored that touchdown on Jalen Kilgore, and we were able to find a way to win it. But yeah, I mean, eventually you just have to find a way to consistently survive.
Yeah, that Clemson 2022 game might be the best game of Beamer's. I mean, throw the pick six on the first possession. We're down 14-0 on the road early. They were favored by 2 touchdowns to beat us. They were cruising for a potential playoff spot, and we and then we come back to, and get back in the game, and then it's Kai Kroger like the whole fourth quarter. Like, that game was nuts, and that was, and you could even say I would even say the game last year against Clemson, where we had 3 red zone turnovers, and you felt like we should have been in control of that game, and then we find ourselves down and 3rd and 16, down 4, and Lenoris makes the play, and then it's like Clemson's right down our throat. It's like, here we go again. They're going to send it to OT, or they're about to just win it right here because they were moving the ball, and then we made the play,
right,
like you said, that Bama did, and we kind of had that last year on that 9-3 in that 9-3 season.
I do think that we're really missing maybe some leadership on this year's team. I think that from what I've heard, Demetrius Knight was a really, really good leader last year, as well as a really good player. And it just kind of seems that we don't really have that as much this year. And, hopefully we're able to find that again on next year's team. But we'll see.
All we can do now is beat Ole Miss. That's the next game. That's the next game. So the Gamecocks are playing Ole Miss on Saturday night in Oxford. I think it's 7 p.m. ESPN kickoff. Let's go. Let's win. Why not? Hold on. We got nothing. We got nothing to lose. Playing with house money, and just go have your best performance of the season, hopefully, against a really good Ole Miss team. And but as Bunkie said, they tend to let some slip. They lost to Kentucky and Florida last year when they really shouldn't have, and we'll see if we can maybe being away from home will be better. I mean, just not having the pressure of trying to win at home. I don't know. I can't really predict anything with this team, but I just hope we see a good performance on Saturday. Let's jump into the DB Blitz. Let's get our gambling picks going. The DB Blitz is sponsored by Hughley Insurance. Austin and Greer, 2 Gamecock alums from Greenville, South Carolina, doing your home and auto here in the state of South Carolina. Give those guys a call and let them take care of you. I use them. They're great. They're great guys. And remember, if you can't cover the spread, they will. DB Blitz time. What's my record, Ross? 20 and 23 and 2. So I'm 3 games. Only 2 games back in the loss column. So I made up a little ground. But throw my picks up there, Ross. All right. So I have Vandy +2. I wanted to moneyline Vandy. I took Missouri last weekend against Vandy. Vandy scratched and clawed their way. I do think Vandy's going to get their reckoning this season. I don't think, they're in every discussion, whether that be playoff, SEC championship. They have a lot in front of them, but I think they're going to get their reckoning. But I don't think Texas is the one to give it to them. I think Texas blows. I think they're overrated. They haven't really done shit this year. They've struggled to beat Kentucky. They really had a insane comeback, should have lost to Mississippi State. Vandy's legit, as much as I hate to say it, and I think they're going to win this game outright. I just took them +2 for shits and gigs, but, maybe sprinkle the money line too. But, yeah, Diego Pavia, motivated. Vandy's defense is good. I think, Arch was in – not that Arch has been phenomenal this season, but I think he was in concussion protocol, so that adds another wrinkle to it, just with who, potentially could be playing quarterback for Texas. I don't think it matters who plays. I think Vandy gets this win, but they, like I said, they will get their reckoning at some point later in the year. Kansas State +7.5. This has been a disappointing team this year. And I think, they just beat the shit out of Kansas last week, got a big win. I don't think that they've played up to their expectations. They were considered to be a favorite to win the Big 12, and they're playing Texas Tech, who was kind of that team that was, if you bunch together 5 or 6 Big 12 teams, Texas Tech was like, all right, they have a bunch of guys that they went out and got in the portal. They spent a lot of money, but we don't really know what they're going to be. They've been good this year, but their quarterback is injured. I know their backup's seen some significant snaps, but I like Kansas State at home. I think they got their mojo. I do think they're a talented team that's underperformed. So I'll take them with the touchdown and the hook. I think they could win outright and pull this upset. I think everyone in the Big 12 is pretty even at the top of the Big 12. I don't really think there's a great team in the Big 12. So I'll take the points with the home dog in Kansas State. Avery Johnson, he's legit at quarterback. So I think they can get that cover. UGA -7. Playing Florida, world's largest outdoor cocktail party in Jacksonville. I mean, Georgia's better than Florida. Pretty simple. Florida's reeling. They fired Billy. Does that motivate them or not? Whatever. Kirby hates Florida. So I just think Georgia's the better team, and Kirby's not going to take it easy per se on Florida. I think if they have the chance to dominate Florida, Kirby's going to take that chance, which I love. I love the fact that Kirby hates Florida just like a UGA fan would, and I think they're the better team. We mentioned it with Bunkie, but Georgia's #1 in offensive efficiency in the whole country, which is pretty wild. Their defense has actually been kind of the worst, which is odd for a Kirby Smart team, but that's been the worst unit or the lesser unit on their football team. But Gunnar Stockton, he's made a lot of big throws, made the big throw against Tennessee. He's had to make a lot of plays in the Ole Miss game and the Alabama game, even though they lost to Alabama, but had the plays there that had the receiver drop the ball. But I think he's playing like a man, a man that's worthy of his 5-star rating out of high school, and he's in a zone. So I think Georgia takes care of Florida fairly easily. UVA -4. They're going out to Cal. Cal had maybe a moment where this freshman quarterback was, first couple games he was getting pretty hyped because he had some awesome performances, but this Cal team sucks when it comes down to it over the last few weeks. I mean, Duke went out there and beat the shit out of them. They barely beat UNC the other week. Virginia's got a lot to play for. They're 7-1. They still have playoff aspirations. I think this is definitely a game. Yes, you have to travel across the country, but I think I don't think that'll necessarily play into this. They'll get out there, get adjusted, get acclimated, and they're the better team. They should win this game. And like I said, they got a lot to play for. So this is one that they should take care of against a mediocre to pretty bad California team. And then the last pick, I'm taking the Cox plus 12.5. Give me the points. I didn't sack up and take us against Bama. I didn't have any hope. But I just think with the way the defense played last week, it gives me some hope that we can replicate that performance. You could say that Ole Miss's offense might be a little bit more dynamic and explosive than Alabama, but to me, Alabama was playing like one of the best offenses in the country going into last week, and our defense held their own. Hopefully some continued great play from the interior. Goodwine, Nick Barrett, who you gave the TD spotlight to. Obviously Dylan on the edge, and our secondary still being able to make some plays against their receivers. So thinking the defense can keep us in it, and I'm just, hoping, again, that Lenoris can make some plays. And to Bunkie's point, they got a small defensive front. Maybe we can get some push. We actually ran the ball with some success with Lenoris against Alabama, so I expect maybe some more QB power stuff and getting ahead of getting and staying ahead of the chains, and maybe we hit some big plays over the top. Hopefully get a little bit of creativity out of Shula, but we'll see. But 12.5, like I said, I like Beamer to motivate this team to keep fighting hard and playing. We play this underdog role well, so I'm gonna take the Cox plus 12.5. And after your picks, we'll talk about the Madcock parlay.
Throw them up for me. All right. I have fallen to 2-2 on the season when it comes to fading North Carolina. Started off hot, won the first two, and then UNC has covered against Cal and Virginia in consecutive weeks. So I was gonna get away from it, but I think Syracuse is gonna beat them. So I took Syracuse -2 against North Carolina. Duke plus 3.5. I took Duke outright as well, but that didn't make the Blitz. I think that Duke's going to beat Clemson. Remains to be seen if Cade is going to start. I don't think it matters if he does. Duke has a good quarterback. I think that they're just going to be able to outscore Clemson. Clemson's not good. I really think that Clemson has more or less checked out, and I think that Duke has more to play for, and they're a better team, and they'll play better. Manny Diaz will have the boys ready to play. Vandy plus 1.5. It's more, it's still hard to put your faith in Vanderbilt. It's such a weird feeling to just accept that they're good, but they continue to win. I love Clark Lee. And I don't think Texas is good either. They should have lost to Mississippi State. That was a miracle comeback. I mean, I took a lot of pleasure in Brandon Walker's misery, but at the same time, Texas, I'm not impressed with them. I think Vandy wins that game. Their reckoning doesn't come this week. I like Georgia for the same reasons that you said. They're a better team. It's a rivalry. I don't think Kirby will take it easy on them. Interim head coach, Georgia covers. Then I took Georgia Tech -5.5. They haven't always won all of their games, super impressively this year, but they still have everything to play for. And I love Brent Key. I like Haynes King. I think they can cover a touchdown.
Yeah. No. I like the picks, especially the Vandy and Georgia picks. Let's get paid. They're going to be calling me Payfluence after this, the way I'm getting paid. But Madcock Parlay, I'm taking it a different way than what Ross is putting on the screen. I took Cox money line and Duke money line. That gave me 10-1. So I'm riding the Cox and Duke to win outright.
So
how are you playing the Madcock?
When Beamer and when Zeb Nolan led the comeback against Vanderbilt, I had taken Carolina that day. And in that moment, I was so thankful that we came back and won that game that I said, I'm not going to bet on us anymore because I feel like I am bad luck. And I honored that for an entire season. I've obviously been betting on us this year, and I've placed multiple Madcocks.
Bad year to do it.
I did not bet on us this past week against Alabama, and we played the best game that we have had all season. So my superstition has washed back over me.
You're out on the Madcock.
And I am taking a sabbatical from betting on Carolina because I now truly do believe that in addition to the chicken curse that already exists, there is something in our group chat that Ross likes to call the corn curse, which is referring to me. We'll get into why it's called the corn curse on a different episode. But essentially, I'm convinced I'm bad luck, and I will not be placing any more bets on the Gamecocks this season.
All right. Well, hell yeah. Now that you're out, this Madcock is going to hit. So everyone,
it has a much better chance to.
Everyone load up on the Madcock. It's 10-1 if you moneyline Duke and Carolina. I think Ross, you said it was plus 320 if you moneyline Duke and take Cox plus 12.5. Looking forward to a good weekend. Let's get a Gamecock win. Let's get a 5-0 for both of our DB blitzes. Even though I want to catch you in the standings, but let's just get a good week overall. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. DM us questions. Everyone, if you see the Cajun Cousins flag in the background, more to come with Cajun Cousins. A great group that I love supporting, and we're going to partner up with them here on the podcast and with the bar in Columbia. So more to come there. But yeah, it was great. Thank you, Bunkie Perkins, for jumping on. If you're listening back to this, we appreciate him coming on and chopping it up with us. But that's going to be a wrap for this episode of the Touchdowns Podcast. As always, go Cox.
Go Cox.